Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Bonsai-En YouTube channel. I'm Josh and today we're going to be talking about soil sieves. Soil sieves are often one of the most overlooked accessories in bonsai. But today we're going to take a look at the 3 sieves that I got here and go through what their uses might be. Now, as you can see, I've got 3 stainless steel sieves here. These ones I import from Japan, from Kikuwa. Now, the ones that I have here, they actually have exchangeable screens in them. So if I pop this one out here, you'll see that there's actually 3 screens that are interchangeable with all different sizes, but we'll talk about them in a second. So the 3 that I have here, we actually have a small one. So this is a 27 centimeter or a 270 millimeter sieve. And then we've got the medium size, which is your 30 centimeter or your 300 millimeter sieve. And then we've got the larger size, which is the 37 centimeter or the 370 mil sieve. Now, as mentioned, all 3 of these do come with interchangeable screens, but the smaller one does actually have some finer screens in it. So what I like to do is actually have both on hand. Now you could either have these 2 or these 2 because the screens in these 2 are pretty much the same. But the smaller one here, when you get down to, that's actually the same size as the larger screen in the bigger ones. But it's once you get down to these 2 smaller ones that you actually get a slightly finer mesh in them. So this really fine mesh here in the small one is really good for after you've done up your mix, whether you're doing akadama, pumice and lava in a 1:1:1 mix. You can, before you chuck it in your bonsai pot, you can actually run it through this really fine screen and it just gets rid of all those fine dust particles out of the mix. It's always good just to put your mix through the screen one last time just to get any fines out of it. So that's what that's good for. And same with this one. If you're doing larger trees, then this might be your small screen. This might be too small. So you can use this one. Now, if we take a look at these screens here, so you've got your larger screen, which is obviously good for your drainage layer. And then you've got your smaller screens for sifting out your finer particles. So a lot of the time when we buy akadama or we buy pumice, with the akadama that we sell here at Bonsai-En, we sell a bag that's 2 to 4 mil. We also sell a bag that's 2 to 6 mil and 6 to 12 mil. So obviously you might want to get some of the smaller particles out of one of those bags. So out of the 2 to 6 mil, you might want to separate the 2 mil from the 6 mil. So you would use like a 2 mil screen. Or if you wanted to keep the 6 mil, you would use a bigger screen, so let all the 2 mil fall through and keep the 6 mil. Another handy thing that these sieves are used for is actually creating top dressing and moss application. And how we do that is you can use, I often use this big screen in my sieve. You can grab your sphagnum moss in a big ball and just rub it over the top of the sieve, and as it sieves through, you'll get those finer particles. Because when you're doing top dressing with sphagnum moss, you don't actually want the long strands and fibres. That's more for creating muck walls. If you're just creating a top dressing for the top of your bonsai pot, then you want to run it through the sieve screen and make it like into finer particles. Now the other thing that I do is rather than just collecting moss and just slapping it on the top of the bonsai pot how it is, I'll actually dry that moss out and then run it through a finer screen, either this one or this one, depending on the moss and what I'm dealing with. Usually if it's just sand, you can run it through this finer one. If it's you know, something like dirt and rocks and stuff, you put it through the bigger one. But what you do is you sift, you actually grate the moss on this. And what you want to do is keep the moss spores, which will remain on the top of the screen, and get rid of all the sand and dirt and rocks and anything else that's attached to the moss through. And then what you can do is you can have all your moss spores and your sphagnum moss and you mix it together 50-50. Put that on top of your bonsai pot, keep it wet, and you'll actually grow your own really nice moss on top of your bonsai pot. So that's something else that these sieves are really handy for. As I mentioned, all 3 sizes of these are available from Bonsai-En. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Head on over and check them out. Until next time, enjoy your bonsai journey.